Welcome to a very well loved and cherished Volkswagen Passat 2006 B6 version. It's a car with almost 250,000 miles on the clock, and it's been in the same family for many years now. It was father's car and now it's son's car, Don, who's lent me this car to do this review. As with many good Volkswagen products, these cars are known to do big miles, and because this car is an early V6, it has the 1.9 TDI PD engine, which is obviously very well known for covering huge miles. And it's a car that's many things to many people. To some people it's a taxi, it's an Uber. To others it's a very dependable family car. Others it's a long distance cruiser, it's the executive car, the car that will get you from London to Scotland on one tank of fuel in comfort and reliability. It's got a fantastically minimalist interior, actually, this car. A very nice, simple silver section in the middle. Very few buttons. Now, obviously, this has just got the simple climate control, but you've got three little dials across here, and then the radio's obviously been replaced with a modern touchscreen, which, you know, is always a good idea because this car is now basically like a brand new car because it's got that big touchscreen in it. Also, you've got this kind of like circle U-shaped thing that stretches all the way around across the front of the dash, through the doors, into the doors. It's just a very cohesive and well thought out design. And then the materials they use are all of nice quality, you know, things that you touch are all very, very pleasing and solid feeling. And then the cubby holes, like the glove box and this one down here, they've got this like damped action on them that you do expect from luxury cars, but not necessarily from a mid-range car. Now, I imagine, yeah, the Jesus handle up here, it's damped, so it doesn't just ping back, it very smoothly goes back. So driving this car around town, of course, it is a doddle. The steering's nice and light, it's got a very comfortable, smooth ride quality. The visibility's good, there's lots of glass. It's not quite as good as the previous generation Passat, but you know, it just makes everything easy. The steering wheel, you can adjust that up and down, in and out. You can adjust the seats in pretty much every which way you want. Lumbar support, they adjust electronically. The gear shift is a little bit notchy for my liking. It seems to resist your hand somewhat when you try and change gear, but most of these cars did come with either a 6-speed automatic, be it a Tiptronic or DSG, or you get a 6-speed manual. Now this car actually has the 5-speed manual, which wasn't actually that common. It was only in some of the earlier models and some of the cheaper models. Oh, I must point out that that front wing, which it's not quite the right colour, is because of the slightly infamous problem that some of these older Volkswagens have to do with rust, which is that the wings and arches can rust. So it's got a new wing on it, but it's yet to be colour matched. So that's why I've got a bright blue front wing. It is a very practical car up front. This car, it's got two big cup holders which easily fit the fat bottom bottle, and they also fit into two pockets in the doors as well, which have got these cutouts for bottles, so you can have as many drinks as you like in this car. And then of course you've got lots of little cubby holes. You've got one to the right of the steering wheel, one down here, you've got the one in the center console, which is pretty big. Your glove box is kind of like an average size, but it is air conditioned, which is nice as standard. And then of course you've got these two little hidden business card holders up top, which if you're going to be doing business in this car, then that is very handy. And then you've got a sunglasses holder up top as well, which I always like to see in a car. So this car, obviously, it's the saloon car, and it has a fairly decent sized boot. Now, it's obviously not the easiest to access everything because it's a saloon and not a hatchback, but you can fold the seats down. A friend of mine used to have a Passat that he used for his rock band, and he used to fill that up with all of the gear for the band and stuff. But if you wanted a car that had a bit more space, then you could, of course, get the variant, which is the estate car, to you or I. If you didn't want the old granddaddy kind of saloon car shape, there was the Passat CC, which was the 4-door coupe version of the Passat, which had a 4-seater layout, a little bit nicer to drive, a little bit sleeker and sportier, but less practical. So when you're driving along at 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, it's very quiet in the cabin, it's a relaxing drive, you know, the ride soaks up the bumps well, and it's definitely a car that you could do long distance in. Now this car itself, I know for a fact that this car has been down to Switzerland, it's been on the continent a few times, it's done booze runs to France, and it's probably better travelled than I am, to be honest. Now of course, coupled with this diesel engine, you fill this car up to the brim of 70 litres of your finest diesel, and you can do 770 miles without stopping. Now, I know I would want to stop for a wee, but you can't beat an old diesel for that, can you? Just that sheer ability to cross continents. Have you got a B6 Passat? Please let me know in the comments what you think of the car. And has the car been reliable? Has it done lots of miles? And have you had many issues with it? So, as standard, the Passat wasn't massively well equipped. It did have a few nice touches like air conditioning as standard and an air-conditioned glove box. You also got an electronic parking brake as standard. There's no manual lever in this car. It's over here on the right-hand side of the dashboard, which is a strange place to put it, but I think this was in the sort of pioneering days of the electronic handbrake. You also got the key which slots into the dashboard. You don't turn it, it just slots in and then you push it, a bit like in Audis of the time as well. We're coming up to a 50-mile-an-hour zone now, so I'm going to see if I can put my foot down uphill. Revving up to 3,000 RPM, it just, it goes for it. It's got 250,000 miles on it, but it's still got a nice bit of torque. It's not a super fast car, but I've just left those cars behind me in my dust. Now, of course, this car was available with engines that had much more power, various states of tune of the diesel engines, the later common rail 2 litres that had more power. Now, of course, there were a few petrol engines as well, ranging from a 1.4 turbo up to a 3.6 VR6. Now, that car must be a real beast, a real interesting car, and I'd love to drive one of those, because VR6 engine is already a kind of weird configuration, isn't it, to have that single cylinder head. Bizarre, but that had 300 horsepower and a proper sleeper of a car. So most Passats, of course, were front-wheel drive, but you could also get it with all-wheel drive, which was known as the 4Motion, which was Haldex 4-wheel drive system. And that gave you a little bit more of sure-footedness in corners and if you encounter a bit of snow or anything. When you get a pace on it, it's obviously not the best handling car in the world. It's quite a heavy car. Volkswagen designed it to be comfortable. They didn't design it to be a sporty car, but it's fine. It's a safe car. It will get you around the corners, and it's certainly not at the same level as the Ford Mondeo of the time, that Mark IV Ford Mondeo. Oh, is that backseat JJ? Oh, better just stop and pick him up. You can tell us about the back. Hiya, mate. Mecca Bingo, please. Oh, no. This isn't a taxi. Oh, what? Oh, sorry. I saw a Passat and I just assumed taxi. Yeah, sorry, mate. All right. Yeah, I'll tell you about what it's like in the back then, mate. Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot of space, loads of headroom, and loads of legroom. A ridiculously spacious car. I've got little door pockets down here. I've got some ventilation. I've got pockets on the back of the seats. You've obviously got ISOFIX points because there's a kid's seat there. Yeah, I'm going to go and actually find a real taxi now, so... Oh, no, he's got the child locks on. Well, I guess I'm in here now for the rest of the review, yep. So back to you, mate. Okay, cheers, man. Thank you. Now, of course, one of the very important things when you're looking for a used car is reliability, and this car, it's an odd one, because when you do your research on these things, then you can get a bit scared with what sort of things can go wrong with them, but at the same time, I've had many comments on the other Passat video I've done from people driving the B6 who've said, yeah, the B6 is capable of doing huge miles and it's also a very reliable and well-built car. They do have of course, standard issues that you get with many diesel engines, which is the injectors and the EGR and the DPF and so on. Generally speaking, these cars are capable of big miles, especially the early engines like the 1.9 TDI that's in this car. I've done a video on another Passat, which has 500,000 miles on it, and that has the same PD engine in it, a slightly earlier version. Now this car, of course, has done 250,000 miles, and yes, there have been a few things that have gone wrong with it. For example, at the moment, the driver's electric window doesn't work, and the electronic handbrake, which was so fancy and new when this car came out, also doesn't work properly. The owner, Don, he's had to have the dual mass flywheel replaced, which again is a very common issue with diesel cars.
B6 can be a bit of a rusty boy. A common spot is the front wings, as is the boot badge surround. As usual, the advice is buy one that has been cared for, and hopefully the car will serve you well.
Now, I think this is a good thing, and you can certainly look at it in a good light, and that is that this car is just utterly anonymous. Nobody will look twice at you when you're driving a Passat, and if you want to fly under the radar, then this is the car. If a car is a bit rubbish, and it stands out as being rubbish, then people probably will look at you. So it does need to be understated and yet good. So yeah, that's the Volkswagen Passat B6. It's a great long distance cruiser. It's a very practical and spacious and economical car. It's a car that flies under the radar. It's not exciting particularly to look at, although it doesn't look too bad in my opinion, and it's not exciting to drive either. But it is a good all-round car, and one that I think, if you buy the right one and look after it, then they are capable of looking after you. So yeah, thank you Don for bringing the car to the channel, and if you want to see a video on the Volkswagen Passat B5, which had done 500,000 miles, then that's up there, and that is a really amazing car. Please remember, if you've enjoyed this video, to like it, and thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.